We need. I still.
I already started. We're already rolling. Hey, what's up, Kim?
Hi, what's up, Jordan?
You said we don't have any music. We don't have any
we
intro
don't.
music.
I feel like I need to like. Maybe that's what it can be.
All right, this is it, man. This is it.
We're doing it.
I can't believe it.
It's toast legit.
I've been wanting to do this for, I don't know, like 3 years. Actually, no. When did we first start talking at the Bean? You used to own that Bean. We'll get into that in a minute. But when did we first start having that conversations at the Bean?
I don't really know because we've had so many stupid conversations.
As
we're
you
this
will
should
see.
be a great podcast.
We should have recorded this.
But I don't know. I mean, it's been some time.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So for those of you who don't know, my name's Jordan. And
my name is Kim.
Yep. And so we're friends. We've been friends for a long time.
Whoop, whoop.
I don't know how the friendship manifested.
I don't either.
I have no idea.
It was so I mean, you came in, but I don't remember when you started so for anybody who's listening who doesn't know who I am, I used to have a restaurant, and so Jordan would come back and sit on my hand washing sink.
I don't even know how I got the invite to come in.
I don't know either. And so Jordan would come in and just sit on my hand washing sink, and we'd chat, and he'd watch me as I'm prepping.
You're working.
I'm legitimately working.
I'm like, hey, man,
taking orders.
How's it going?
But you would help me too.
Yeah.
There were quite a few times that Jordan would go and answer the phone or anything like that. And so I don't know though, how it happened. I was talking to my husband about that the other day, and
it's super funny because so you're a chef, obviously.
I am.
Go back how long ago was it when you first bought the Mean Bean? Because the Mean Bean, for those of you that don't know, was it's still around.
It is
a restaurant that is in our community.
Mm-hmm.
It was something before that though.
Yeah, so it was the Italian coffee bar.
Okay.
Prior to, and
then,
it was the coffee shop. Yeah, I bought it. It had closed for 2-3 years, maybe something like that.
So when did you first buy it? Do you remember the year?
Well, I didn't. I mean, I started it in 2014.
Okay.
And then moved into actual brick and mortar 2015.
Yeah.
2015 was a wild year. Right before I opened, I went on a mission trip.
For real? Were you at the church by then? Kim goes to our
no.
church, just FYI.
No. I was kind of finding a church. So I had tried a couple different churches, and then somebody in the congregation,
kind of reached out.
She was like, "Hey, have you found something?"
You should come to my church.
Well, and I had found a church, and I got really angry. I walked out of a service in the middle of sermon. Yeah, but it's a weird moment when you walk out of a sermon. For the first time, I was like, "This is not what I want." From church, kind of a thing, and so I walked out. But anyway, so. I think she kind of sensed that and was like, "Hey, come try it out."
Yeah.
And I think my first time was the outdoor ceremony.
Oh, yeah.
Not ceremony.
Ceremony.
The outdoor ceremony, where we did the sacrifices.
We're gonna have a ceremony. Yeah. We brought a bowl. It was really fun. Man, it was
this was crazy.
This is my favorite church ever. I love these people.
But yeah, I don't know how
it's gonna be so hard on Sunday not to say welcome to the ceremony. Glad that you're here. Can you imagine being a new person at church? You're like, what? Did he just say ceremony?
Yeah, I would be like,
we're renewing vows right now. This was gonna happen.
We're rewriting our vows.
That's how you walk out of a service, right there. That's the first time. I'm done. See you later.
Yeah. So that was the first time, and then
I don't know when I first walked into the Bean. But like some there was a point where I was like, I'm going behind the bar today. Like I'm going behind.
And I was like, oh, there he is.
Like, hey, how's it going? I'm like,
I know, but
what's up? But then it just happened.
Yeah, it was very like our friendship has very much been like a natural progression of.
Brought my dog in one time. He peed on the floor.
He was a puppy, sweet little puppy.
Yeah, peed on the floor.
So what's going on? Let's share. I'm jumping in. So for anybody who's listening, right before this, Jordan and I started talking about your doggo. So we're gonna have a real heavy moment right now.
This podcast is supposed to be funny, and we're talking about dog. My dog is sick. So
what's going on?
So here's what happened. So I have a dog. Obviously, you have a dog.
I do.
And
he's not as cool as Frank.
Frank is a basset hound. So he's super chill, super laid back. Long story short, didn't eat for a couple of days. We're like, no big deal. Whatever. It's not going to kill him. He's ginormous.
He'll eat when he's hungry.
He'll eat when he's good. And then we're like, oh, you're not going to eat ever. Okay. So then he ate. So there was like this period of time when he went back to normal for like a week, and then it like came back. So I'm a part of this group, this Facebook group. How many groups on Facebook are you part of?
I'm not a part of a lot of them.
Get out of here. They're the best part.
No, I'm like dead serious because like I look on Facebook and I'm like, this is all crazy.
It is.
Because of what he said, what he is about to share with you. The stark contrasts, I can't with any of y'all who are sharing your opinions on Facebook. It is crazy sometimes.
It's the only reason why Facebook is still around is Facebook
true.
groups. Like, I'm convinced.
There's one that I follow. I never post.
Are you going to share? Which one is it? We're not there yet. You think about it, and if you want to weigh in, you can.
I mean, okay, it's for our community.
Don't do it. No, don't do it. Don't even go down that. All right.
If anybody's listening right now, they're like, oh, I know.
Yeah, exactly. We're not going to do that. All right. So anyway, I dropped a message to this. I'm a part of this like Basset Hound like Facebook group, which is super funny, by the way, because all people do is they drop posts like their dog crossed the Rainbow Bridge. Do you know what the Rainbow Bridge is?
Yeah.
So I didn't even know this was a thing.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. I got a card with like the last dog that I had. I got a card that was
say
like
Rainbow Bridge.
Yeah.
Get out of
here.
Like
I don't think that she gave me a gift, but like there was like a. We'll see. There's a poem. I'm gonna look it up. While Jordan's telling you, I'm gonna look it up.
So anyway, so I post this post, same thing that I just told you. Like, this is what's going on. This is what happened. Blah 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 blah. Anyway, so it has. I think they're called impressions. Are they called impressions? Like when people like or love or like care. Now there's like a care for or whatever. You know.
Yeah.
So there's there was like 400 of those, and then there was like. And I asked people, I was like, do you have any thoughts? Like, why he's like this? People were like, he's going to die.
You WebMD'd is what it was.
There is like, people are posting pictures of their dog. They're like, oh, my dog was 5'2" and he's dead. And I'm like, what is happening?
Like, Frank, no.
Like, I'm like, what are you talking about? And then, like, to make matters worse, then, like, people are like, oh, that's fine. My Basset Hound does this every day. Like,
you mean doesn't eat every day?
There's one guy.
Fine. Have you ever seen those dogs that like they're like 27 and like won't die? That's the dogs they're talking about. It's a taxidermy dog that somehow like barks every once in a while.
This one guy, he's like my dog hasn't eaten for a week either. And I'm like, what? And this guy right next to him, like underneath of a post, like, you might want to take your dog to the vet too. So like, there's
sound advice, Jordan. Sound advice.
So there's like people who are just like instantly take him to the vet right now, and then there's people like, he'll be fine.
See what happens.
There's like one lady of all, 200 comments. One lady was like, has checked in on me. Like, any update on your dog? Oh. And I'm like, oh, that's nice of you to say that, you know.
Can you send me your address so I can bring a care basket for your dog?
Okay, so update. Like, anyway, did you find it?
Yeah, look how long this is.
Don't read that whole thing.
Well, I'm not going to read the whole thing.
Just give me, the bottom 2 sentences to that.
No, because the bottom 2 are the saddest. What are you talking about? You can't. No, that's not. No.
I feel really sorry for your dog.
Just this side of heaven is a place called Rainbow Bridge. When an animal dies that has been especially... Wait a minute. I don't know if this is right. It's a poem. I don't know. Anyways, I've gotten a Rainbow Bridge card.
That's so funny. How many dogs have you lost?
Well, so I had one, like my 20-year-old dog. Everybody has like their 20-year-old dog. You guys had Tozer.
He was, Old English Bulldog. He was like... He died early, but anyway.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. I had Wiley, who was a Lab Rottweiler mix. And so I got him when I was 19.
Yeah.
And then he just like moved with me. He was a phenomenal dog, but he ended up having this like gigantic tumor that it started out in like... I kid you not.
Did you let it go for a while? You're like, eh.
No, because it looked, at first, it kind of looked like maybe like a cyst or something.
Yeah.
Or like a pimple is what it looked like. And so, like, I would kind of fidget with it. And then it kind of just grew into like a skin tag. So, like, we would like kind of flop it around. What you got going on, homie? And then it like started.
He's like laying next to you on your couch, and you're just like, hey, man, what's this thing?
He was so over. By that point, he was so over my shenanigans. Like, he was like, I can't with you anymore.
He's like, lady, I'm dying and you're flicking my tumor. You gotta stop.
Yeah, so then it turned into like an actual like bump.
Oh, no.
And so we went to the vet for it. And I mean, like, it was substantial. Like a
Does
softball.
the vet talk to you about like when you went and took him in? Did the vet like break down the numbers for you?
Well, she was like, you're in your 20s. So your options are
so yesterday,
let him die or put him down now.
So yesterday, I called this lady and I'm like, hey, this is so bad. She's like, you should take him in right now. And I'm like, well, like where? And she's like, well, you can't bring him in here because we have like 50 surgeries going on. I'm like,
I don't know, take him to...
Okay. So she's like, you can take him to a clinic, or you can take him to an emergency clinic, which I didn't know those existed. I did a wedding for a couple, and one of the bride actually worked for one of those.
Oh, I was like, did you send her to an emergency veteran?
She sent her spouse. So anyway,
we've been feeding her pumpkin and chicken, and she's not eating anything.
So anyway, she's like, that will cost you thousands.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, well, okay. So I asked her, I'm like, well, what would you do? And she like walks it down. And I'm asking, I felt so bad. I'm like, how much is that? Like contemplating.
Frank, how much is your life worth, dude?
I legitimately looked at him and I was like, $150? Like,
my kid's gotta eat, Frank, and you're not eating. I guess you could take the money that you're not spending on his food, and put it towards your family.
I was legitimately like, I'm weighing it out. Like, I'm like, she keeps like listing things, and I'm going, I don't think so. Like,
we're in the thousands at this point, Frank.
So anyway, back to your like.
So basically, like, they couldn't do anything. It was on his elbow, so they couldn't remove it because there wasn't enough skin to like.
Graft
it
back
in, like it was humongous. Like, I'm telling you, it was like a softball. So we just like let him.
You just let him
walk
live.
around.
Yeah.
And so like he had it for maybe like 2 years.
Do you ever contemplate cutting it out yourself?
No, but I very much like after like the sadness of like losing your animal.
It's horrible.
I was like,
it's the worst thing in the world.
It is. It is.
I have not cried over like dead people. That bad.
Yeah. I don't, and they've never said it. Have you ever thought about that? You're mourning something that has literally never said one word to you.
But let me tell you what, if you take your dog and your wife and you put them both in the trunk of your car and you leave them there for an hour, only one of them is going to be excited that you're back.
That's so true.
Like that dog would be like,
hey, what a ride that was. Gannon, my dog now, oh my gosh, he would be like, this is the best day ever.
You came back. It's amazing.
It's a little dark, guys, but it's fine.
So unconditional love.
I know, it's crazy. But
never said a word to you in your whole life.
Yeah, and like you are so sad over it. And so, yeah. But after, like, he was put down and after, like, that initial, like, you're not hearing, like, the click of their nails on the floor type of sadness, I was like, I wonder if they got into his elbow so I can, like, I want to see
I need to take a gander
Have you ever had stuff, like, removed from yourself?
No. That's never happened. I'm racking my brain right now. Like, I'm going, have I? Wait, am I that old that I've forgotten that somebody took something from my body?
No, I'm not like.
Have you?
So, yeah. So I don't know where it's somewhere on my face. It's hot in here.
It is.
Anyways, I had like a cyst on my face.
Yeah.
And it was like, this sounds so gross. It was like a cyst that is supposed to be on like somebody's back.
Okay.
I don't know how it grew on
They took it
face.
off.
So they took it out. I wanted so badly to touch it.
Shut.
I want to touch it. Like, I don't need to see like anything.
Did you want to keep
out.
It? Did you ask?
I mean,
let me tell me you asked the doctor to keep that. Hey,
like,
you put that in a mason jar.
Let me see it. I want to see it floating around, just like, hey, what's going on?
Take it.
I wrap a little ribbon around it.
So those of you that don't know, Josh is Kim's husband. So if I ever say Josh, like that's
and
what
you're
I'm talking about.
You're why I almost said your husband. That would have been
an
interesting story.
Hard
your
pass.
wife is Bethany.
Yeah.
So yeah, we should get that out of the way instead of like
I'm
my
gonna
husband,
say
my
Josh
wife.
all the
yeah,
time.
and I'm gonna say Bethany and Josh as well. So anyways, no, Josh was not that. Like, it was just like a super tiny little.
Yeah.
It was just a substantial enough bump that they were like, we should probably like make sure this isn't cancerous. So they took it out, and I wanted so badly to just like, let me touch it. Let me get.
He's like, you can't. Slapping
No,
your
really,
wrist,
she was like, you can't touch this, and I was
You'll
like,
get
why?
infected.
It was in my face. Like, who are you to tell me? You just met me. I have just parted with a.
That's mine. I don't care who removed it. You owe that to
No take
me.
backs.
Like you're like biting a fingernail or something. Like, here's my fingernail.
There's people who save their fingernails. Did you
That's
know that?
disgusting.
It's not me.
Get
I don't.
outta
But
here.
no, I'm dead serious. Like,
Gross.
I mean, I think there was maybe a serial killer who kept him, but this podcast is taking a weird.
So go back to your dog that you lost. Like, anyway, so how old did he make it?
He was 13, which for big dog,
That's a long
is
time.
a good amount of time. Like, and he was like starting to limp and stuff like that. Like, he was succumbing to like hip dysplasia, and I was 20. Like, when your dog's in your 20s, really put up with.
Were you there when they put him down?
I was, because I refused.
Were you in the room?
Yeah, I refused to. And it's not like a judgment against anybody who leaves the room, but I mean, like, I've spent 13 years with him.
Right,
he was my puppy.
He's mine.
And so, like, I'm gonna take him home once.
Yeah.
No, but like, he was scared.
Did you? So when I put Tozer down, the vet didn't tell me his eyes don't close. Like, he
Well,
this is so bad. I'm by myself. I'm with this giant 90-pound like white bulldog. Like,
wide-eyed.
I've never been through this before. The doctor looks at me and he's like, okay, we're gonna put. He tells me what he's gonna do. We're gonna put this in his body or whatever, and then he's gonna go. And I'm like, okay, like, I'm prepared, whatever the case is. So it's him, the nurse. I don't know. Are they called nurses? Sure. Vet techs, whatever. Yeah. So you're a nurse.
It's Nurses Week. Everybody's a nurse.
Thank you for your service. Can you imagine some lady standing next to an actual like people nurse? Like, you have recognition Sunday or something, like, all the nurses, it's Nurses Week, would you stand? And this girl, she's a vet nurse.
She works on my cat.
We don't want to discriminate here either. He's a vet nurse. Sit down. That'd be so.
Yeah, or like, there's a lot of people who wear scrubs that like don't.
No.
You're in reception, ma'am. Sit down. You're not working on anybody's body.
That's funny you brought that up, because today when I dropped Frank off at the receptionist, she had scrubs on. I was like, hopefully you're not touching it. Felt so bad.
Those are though, like, I genuinely want to wear scrubs, like,
just to see what would happen.
No, not to see. Just they look like you don't have to think about an outfit.
That's
then,
true. Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You just put on a color.
Chefs do that, right?
Yes.
To a certain extent.
I mean, well, like,
depends on where you're a chef at.
Yeah. So yes. Anyways, back to.
Okay. So anyway, so she's standing next to me and whatever, and so I'm like, I like got his head, which was huge. And I'm like, it's okay, buddy. I don't know what I'm, you're about to cross the bridge, homie.
Start swimming, man. It's ready to go.
So anyway, he's staring at me the whole time. The dog is, and the vet taps me on the shoulder. He's like, he's gone. And I was like, I lost it. I had nobody to lose it to. So the nurse is standing next to me. I just hugged her and I bawled like a baby. And she's like, it's okay. I'm like, what would I do?
She's like, this is not in my pay grade to be comforting a grown man.
Yeah, I'm like a homesick kid at camp. Can't regain. So anyway, finally.
So his eyes were open.
Oh, it's the worst.
Mine didn't. That didn't happen. He went to they sedated him first. So
so he's already sleeping.
Yeah, he was sleeping. But I noticed
killed him. Right.
They did. They took him. His tongue, his
was hanging out.
It was hanging out, and it was twitching still.
Oh,
it was weird. And then I had this moment of
Did you cry?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It's a hard cry too.
Yeah. Well, I think so. I don't know if it's a good skill or not, but I internalize all of my drama. It's great.
This is me being really good at what I do.
No, I was crying. I think when I got out to the car, that's when I kind of let it, because I don't cry often. Josh has only seen me cry maybe at this point, maybe 8 times.
Really? You're kind of a dude in that regard.
I don't cry.
Yeah.
And so I had a couple tears, but then when I got home,
it
was like Josh just looked at me. He just looked at me, and I was like,
I walked in the door. Bethany looks at me. She's like, "Oh no!" And I just grabbed her, and I was like, I cried for probably a solid 2 minutes on her.
Yeah. Well, was Tozer's? So was Tozer more your dog?
It was our dog. He was our first dog. So, and here's
who did he like more?
Well, probably me, because it's a dog thing. Unless you're like you,
I don't know what that means.
But Bethany got cancer, he was there. You know, had a first kid, he was there. So this dog was huge to us.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is what it is. So chefs wear the same thing. You wear a uniform, yeah?
Kind of. I mean, so it depends, I guess, on the restaurant. So at the Bean, it was
you can wear whatever you want.
But I made sure that I got stuff. That was quite the change right there, by the way.
We're done talking about dead dogs. We're moving
on to your outfits.
Yeah.
So yeah, at the Bean, it wasn't required. I mean, there were things that.
What about the current position? Do you have to wear a chef's outfit?
I have a chef coat.
Ooh.
So
is that a big deal in the chef's world? To get it?
To
get your coat?
Your hat.
Oh, your hat's a big deal?
Apparently. I don't know. I've not worked in fine dining.
Okay.
But there's a definite hierarchy.
Yeah.
Of
when you graduate from school, do you get the coat or the hat or both?
Well, wherever you're working, you normally get a coat.
Okay.
And it could be dressed with different things. If you're part of the ACF, which is the American Culinary Federation.
Okay.
There's a lot of different things that you can dress up your coat. It's kind of like the military, realistically.
Really?
Yeah. So the way that the kitchen is set up was done in France, and it was done by military.
What?
Yeah, I'm this is not me faking.
So this is how
100%.
It comes into our spectrum, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, so it's very much set up in a military hierarchy. Your exec chef is going to be the top dog. Most exec chefs, all exec chefs, if you are called an exec chef, then I immediately have a respect.
It's just assumed that this is going to be the pecking order.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so for a really long time,
is that why they always say yes, chef? Because that's the it's military. You'd say yes, sir, or whatever the case is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so so you walk in, and most of the time, even if you have gone in culinary school, you walk in as scum of the earth in the kitchen. I'm kind of
a private in the service.
Yeah. So a lot of people work their way up the rankings, and so to me, I really struggled for a really long time, especially with this new job that I'm at. Or when people would come into the Bean and they're like, "Hey, you're a chef," and I'm like, "No, I'm not." don't call me that.
Yeah.
Because that's like something that's earned.
Yeah.
And like I just made sandwiches and salads. Like
you're welcome. like a normal it's like the vet, the nurse, like an actual nurse would see somebody who's like a nurse at like the vet clinic and
nurse.
Be like
you don't
or not. That's how I feel about people who are like I got my ordination online. I'm like
just to like marry your best friend. Yeah.
I'm like, no, like you did not.
Yeah, that's all the process.
Oh, that drives me nuts. Anyway, that's another conversation for another day.
That's a whole different day. Yeah. So yeah, you start out like at the very, very bottom, and then you gain the trust. A lot of times, like you're not paid.
That's crazy. Kind of like an apprentice.
Yeah. Well, and if you're going into a fine dining,
so how do you live then?
I don't know, but so in fine dining restaurants, you start out as I think it's a stage. It's spelled stage, but I think it's a French term. Stage.
You're a stag.
Something like that. Anyways.
You're a horse.
You're working for free.
Yeah.
Like the end.
That's crazy.
And you're working hard, long shifts.
Chef's World is like 12 to 15 hour days.
It is.
Easily.
And it's like weekends, and the more fine dining that you get into, the more demand it has, which is why like you see mostly like dudes up at the top, because like family life does not.
Yeah. If you have like kids or whatever, you're never going to see them.
Yeah. No. And I mean, like even with doing 7 to 3,
so
Monday
you have
Saturday.
you have a scale going on here. You have like making salads and sandwiches.
Well,
then you have like fine dining. Where do you land now in your current position? Like, where are you at in that scale?
I'm not fine dining because there's a certain level, I think, where my skill isn't needed.
Okay.
There's one restaurant actually that I have worked with a couple times, and I hold them to high regard. Everything is from scratch.
Yeah.
They have their own gardens. They're very knowledgeable.
That's cool.
And so like, but it's a contractual thing that I still have to go and work with them. I love working with them. I got one of my friends a job there. They're wonderful. Their kitchen is amazing. It's huge.
Yeah.
But like, there's nothing that I'm going to show them that they don't already know. And so people like that,
so you kind of sit in the middle.
Yeah,
it depends on who you're talking about.
Yeah, it depends. So like right now I work with like bars and grills, or I'm working with a new place that's like gonna be a resort or something like that.
With the goal and intent to like do their menu.
Kind of. So like I'm showing them different items that they can put on their menu.
Oh, like possibilities.
Yeah, like, hey, this is what I've come up with based off of the things that I've heard that you want.
Yeah.
Here's what I have come up with, and I cook all of those things for them, and then they take those ideas and pop them on their menu, or maybe there's something that they like, an aspect that they like, and they put that on their menu. But I mean, I'm just kind of like showing them, here's what you do. And then I also like stay up on top of all of the food trends. And so I was
gonna say, it's got to be like a love-hate relationship, right? Because like some people are great to work with, and then some people like not so much at all.
Yeah.
Or like some people great to work with. I'd love to keep that relationship going. And then some people like, oh, okay, we're done. And then other people like.
Kind of like you have to. I love kitchen people. Kitchen people are the weirdest people ever. I mean, like I say that with
from my experience,
so much
being
love.
behind the bean counter, I would agree with everything you just said.
Kitchen people
it's a different breed of people.
We're all like weird. Like we don't really fit in anywhere.
Yeah.
And so we fit in the kitchen, and it's like this like hodgepodge of personalities. So but we all have the same kind of like drive and work ethic.
Yeah.
So I can get along with a lot of kitchen people because I'm a kitchen person.
Yeah.
Like I don't have anywhere that I fit. Like really.
I mean, but don't you feel like that's like the same way with like every profession though? Like I mean, like once you find your true groove, you're like, I don't want to say like these are my people, but in the same breath, like these are my people, good, bad, or indifferent.
Yes, yeah. and so yeah, so I mean, I deal with a lot of different personalities, but for the most part, there's a commonality that like you're a kitchen person, I'm a kitchen person.
Yeah,
let's be kitchen people
together. Let's do this together. It's gonna be great.
And so yeah, like I deal with a lot of different personalities, but I mean, I've gotten along with everybody, and I think it helps at least that I'm super go with the flow. Like, I'm real chill. I'm not coming in, because another thing that comes with chefs is like big heads, big egos.
Really? Well, the ego would be, because if everybody in the kitchen is like, yes, chef, you know, like you're looking at that going like, I'm it.
Yeah.
I'm the person.
Yeah. And so I come in and just kind of like, hey, I'm not trying to take over your kitchen. Like, I'm not doing anything like that. I'm just here to help you. And I've had a couple people who are real skeptical, and they're like, what is she trying to do? What is she trying to sell? I'm like, I'm not trying to do anything. I'm trying
here to help
you. I'm just trying to show you the things that, because you get so stuck in one way of thinking. And I know that it's like that in every other aspect.
These are the type of
life.
Sandwiches we make. These are the type of salads we make, whatever the case is.
But I mean, even in just like life, like the way that you know, do sermons is different than the way that somebody else does, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'm here to come in and just be like, okay, hey, you've been doing it like this, but like, it's not working right now. It's not on trend right now. And there's so many factors that go into it. And so then I kind of am there to get them out of that way of thinking. And it's simple things sometimes that like they just don't figure it out. Yeah, you don't get there by your thinking. And it could just be like, I'm gonna put pecans on this salad instead of walnuts, and they'll be like, that's amazing. You know, like,
you're welcome. My claim to fame
my
is
job's done.
I took what you did well and I made it better. Congratulations. Somebody paid me.
There's so many things that are like that. I had an employee one time, and this is like the perfect example. I'm sure that you've dealt with that. Do you have stuff like that?
Like what?
Like, okay, so I had an employee, and I had tabletops that were like 4-seaters. They were squares. Yeah. And when you're cleaning the tables, you like push them in, right?
For those of you who don't know, Kim just said a table with 4 chairs that's high.
It's square.
Yeah, square table.
Yeah. So
somebody's thinking to themselves, they're trying to draw the mental image. They're like, wait a second. Is that... Give me dimensions. Just a square table. Stop it.
It was a square. So when you push in the chairs, like for the most part, you just like
go under?
Put them in straight.
Yeah.
I had one employee who put them in at an angle.
That's not okay.
No. After I saw that, I was like, that is a genius way. It saved so much space.
Really?
It looked so much better. I have never seen anybody put chairs under a table like this employee did. Ever since then, I put chairs in like that.
I can't stand it. It makes me heart
immediately no.
I'm like, nope, don't care. I don't care how many pictures you show me. Look at how aesthetically pleasing that is. Nope, those chairs are underneath the wrong.
It's like it fits so well.
But what if you're sitting there eating at a corner of a table?
No, you're not. You would pull it out.
Oh, I see what
you would pull it out, but like when
nobody's there.
Yeah. She put them in at an angle. It was the weirdest thing. Do you have stuff like that where like, I mean,
I'm trying to think. Like,
because it's not like you like sermon with multiple people. What is it?
No, I can't place that. You know what I mean?
P.S. Jordan is a pastor of the church that we both attend.
Hi. People are like, what is happening right now? What do you do? I definitely do not put the chairs, although I could. Like in the foyer, I'm sitting here thinking, man, we should put the chairs on the corners. Like, but I can't because their legs are on the corners, so that wouldn't work.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Right? You're gonna have to draw a picture.
So like you don't. What is the word? You don't preach with like multiple people up there.
No, just one.
And so but like you have deacons and elders and stuff like that. So you're also like dealing with different ways that people.
Oh, all the time. Yeah. How they do things and how they. Oh, we're not talking about the chair situation. I know.
No, just like how people think and like how people like.
Yeah. Like working with dynamics. But I think the interesting thing in regards to what you do is like when you're dealing with a person who like you go into it already going like, this is your business. This is your thing. Mm-hmm. Like, and I'm not saying like this is a business in regards to church, but like giving direction is huge because if you don't give people direction, like then it's just flippant. So like the other day, for example, I was on a call with a couple of pastors because we said in regards to a denomination and I'm with it. And I got off this is so bad. I got off the call and I was like, I couldn't be that person's parishioner. And Benny's like, why? And I was like, everything they do, I would do different. I'd do the opposite. Like, if there's any, like, evidence that God exists, it's that guy has a church and it's thriving. You know? Like, it's just different personalities, whatever the case is. But, like, going into a meeting with that individual would make me so, like, he doesn't have, like, agendas or anything like that. They just do it. They just do the meeting, and I'm like, what? Like that can go so many directions. So, hard pass. I come in like if I don't have an agenda on the table, like I get really nervous. This is not like a meeting. This like us talking. This is like I don't care. Like it can be all over the place. But if like you came in, for example, because you were on our corporate worship team, if you came in and we had a meeting and there's no like agenda. Like, how long are we going to be here? 15 minutes? An hour?
Yeah.
2 hours? Like, what do you need to talk about? And then let's get out of here. So
I like those just because I need to stay on task. Like, if I have meetings, I need something to like rein me back in because otherwise, like 100%. In like 3 seconds, I'll be talking about like the different colored markers that I just started using and how wonderful it has 7 colors.
Like, do I put pecans on my salad or not? And you're like, I don't know, but this menu's amazing.
Yeah, it's just So I mean, like, just like different personalities, different.
Okay, so that's a little bit about you, a little bit about me.
Did we say anything about us?
Like, so obviously you're a chef. Like, I'm in the ministry. Like,
we're friends.
We're all in the ministry. We're friends. Here's the whole preface and the point of us getting together. Number one is we love to talk. So that happens.
And we're good at it.
It's one of my gifts.
I think I'm funny. I don't know. You laugh. I laugh.
Go home to Josh and like, I'm hilarious.
He'd be like, I don't know about that.
Which is really funny because if you know our spouses, like Bethany does that to me sometimes. I'm like, I don't think you know how clever I am. Like, because she's very naive to the things of the world. So like, there's some things that I gave her any movie line over her head. Like just straight over her head. And I'm like, come on, man. I'll tell you a movie line. You're like, I love that movie. You know? Or Josh, I'll give Josh a movie line and he's like, like, because he's a man of few words. So
No, he's not.
To the world. He
is. But there are times when I love you, Josh, but like this kid will start talking and I'm like, who
Never heard him talk. Never heard him. Like,
we have a silent marriage.
Yeah, probably like 10 words at max I get out of him.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
very, very quiet, which is fine.
If you get him on the right topic, he can talk for forever.
I'm sure.
Anyways, our spouses are very similar
and very sweet.
Bethany talks a lot more.
Absolutely, 100%. So the whole goal, like of our like trajectory, where we're going, is the Grease and Grace thing. Is Grease is from the kitchen, obviously, and then Grace is from the church.
Yeah.
So every week you can expect some endeavor like from the past week. Hold on to it. Something like we find taxing. Let's say that because we're not gonna say like it's dumb. Well, we might. Who knows? But like like something that transpired that we look at and go like, man, like this is just life. A little greasy, for lack of a word. And then something gracious that like, man, like love this or whatever, like dogs crossing the rainbow bridge. And then if we have time from there, like we'll try to tackle a topic. Today's obviously is dogs and their death.
That was not anywhere.
Not planned at all.
I don't know if honestly we'll ever get to the list that we
might not. We have some things that we would like to do, but organically, like we're gonna move this in a direction wherever it goes. So all that to say, this week's Grease. Go.
Okay. So, oh man. So I'm still fairly new. Like I've not been at my job. So this is a job situation.
Most of the grease is going to come from the job. Like, and we'll be as broad as we can. Like, actually, that's not true. So grease is just going to come from life stuff. You know, like
very true.
If you're a checkout lady at a local grocery store, you're a free game. I'm just letting you know that right now.
So be nice.
Somebody told me a while ago, they're like, I use this a lot. They're like, you're the answer to somebody else's prayer request. Like,
did they pray for somebody to terrorize them?
Well, like the lady at the grocery store, she is waiting for you to like, like do something in her life. And I had a student one time, they're like, I just want to get my groceries. Like,
that's so true.
I'm not mad at you at all. I'm like,
oh, yeah.
All right. So anyway,
okay, so
this
Grease.
week.
Grease. This is a literal Grease moment. Like, not everyone is going to be literal grease, but this is it. So, okay. So I'm still fairly new at the job. So there's still a few things that I haven't done. And one of them.
Define new. Like, what are you talking
about? I started I'm about to hit that year mark, but I mean, there's still, with any job, it takes a little bit to have done everything that needs to be done and like have something under your belt. And so we had a training not too long ago.
How many people do you have employed here? Like, what are we talking? You go and do a training. Like, how many people are there? Just building a mental image.
About like 50.
Oh, really?
But we
that
like
many?
split up. Yeah, 50 to 60. And then like the training gets split up because the room that we do the trainings in isn't big enough. And
that's a lot more than I thought.
Yeah. I mean, well, so it's like districts. I'm not training them.
No. You're just there for
I'm
the
just
training.
like to support.
Okay, yeah.
And so this time around it was burgers and
is it always a different like?
Yeah, it's like a lot of times it's like different products that are new and things of that sort. And this time it was burgers. We're getting into summer season, and so it's just nice for everybody to kind of like know what burgers we have, like the patties.
It's crazy because it's so broad. Like everything you guys are talking about is like super broad.
It is. But like, and without like divulging anything further, like there's specifics within each thing. And so like the training was honing in on the specifics within this broad group.
Yeah.
So this one was burgers, and so we had like 9 burgers to cook. And
you guys are like in like
this is legit.
I picture like science lab. Like you guys are all
I had my chef coat on.
Okay, class. I gotta do burgers.
So we had like trays set up, and so my job was to cook the burgers for the person who was presenting all of these burgers and like the differentiation between all of them and stuff like that.
So you're not being trained. You're part of the organization that is training.
Sometimes I'm being trained.
Right.
This time I was not. This time I was supporting.
I have like a mental image of a guy who's like presenting and you're cooking the burgers for this guy, and then he's going to show like all these people.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so I was behind cooking. He's presenting. In the first round, so we had like 20 some people. We had 9 burgers, and so we were gonna cut them up. So I had about 5 burgers on the grill the first round.
Yeah,
things were fine. Things were golden. Things were great. Second round started, and so when you're cooking a burger, like the juice starts coming out, and the flare ups start happening. Yeah. Okay, so the second round of burgers.
Are you on an actual grill?
Not an outside grill,
like a grill
that with the grates and
not
everything
a Blackstone
like
or anything like that.
No. Okay, this is a legitimate with fire, and so
what else do you cook with?
I don't know.
I don't know if you know this or not, but I cook with heat.
I don't know. Some people cook with a hope and a wish that it tastes good.
Hey, man, you like fire?
So I start the next round of burgers.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing that like there's a lot more drippage happening.
Okay.
And the flare-ups are kind of getting bigger. They're starting to get a lot bigger.
Which directly affects the food.
Well, yes.
Can affect the food.
Definitely did this time. So I'm like, there was another chef who was doing a different training for the other side of the like stuff. He was standing right next to me at the fryer, and so we're talking, and I'm like, there's a lot of smoke that's happening right now. Right?
Because you're burning the building down.
We're like watching, and I'm like, this, like, I'm comfortable with like flames and stuff like that, but like there's like a turn that happens.
It's getting significant.
Yeah. So I'm like talking to him, and I'm like checking the fire suppression system, and I'm like, this is not going the way that it needs to go.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, black smoke starts barreling out of the grill, Jordan. And I am like, oh my gosh. All of a sudden, this dude, he has a broken foot. He comes up like on that wheelchair thing. And he's like, you're on fire. And I was like, I am on fire. And like, I wasn't freaking out. Like I'm
like your food, like
not my body. I would not be here. But but like the grill was on fire, and he's like, we need to do something.
So what do you do?
So normal fires, like on a grill, your immediate first is going to be like, everybody's going to be like, fire safety, you need to get a fire extinguisher. No, let me tell you, because I just had this conversation with Josh, and he was like, you don't have a fire extinguisher? And I was like, that is not the first immediate thing. You grab the thing. No, you don't think to do that. So salt doesn't burn.
Will bring it down.
This is a safety PSA.
Don't
pour water on a grease fire.
Yeah. You can't do that. Yeah. Everybody knows that.
Well, do they? Because last year something caught on fire and she poured water on a grease fire and then it splashed in her face. Yeah, not everybody knows. So that's not gonna be good. If your fire is happening from grease,
just
don't
throw
put water.
Salt on it?
Salt doesn't burn. So it'll snuff out the
So let
flame.
me get this straight. This guy comes over on his little wheelie thingy, tells you you're on fire. You grab a thing of salt and put it on there.
No. No. You know why, Jordan? Because there was no salt in the kitchen. There was no salt.
How do you have no salt in the kitchen?
I don't know.
That's ingredient number one.
I don't know. Exactly. So okay, I take that back. There was like maybe a quarter cup of salt.
Get out of here.
It was a big
So
grill.
then what do you do? Like, there's no salt. What's plan B? Pepper?
So, I gave him the salt, but like it wasn't enough. So then your next thing would be like baking soda.
Okay. Not it.
Kitchen didn't have that either.
You're throwing a chicken patty at it.
All that they had in like mass quantities was frying oil. You can't throw oil on an oil fire.
Yeah.
And so he got it out. I don't know how because I was busy.
When you say he, was it the guy next to you?
No,
or
the guy on the wheelie
chair? He's throwing his wheel thing. I envision this guy come over like, I'll take care of this.
No, he was like, you're on fire. and it
fired.
was like the fire was coming from like the tray underneath.
Right. Because you can't control that.
Yeah. So the grease moment of this week was that I made a name for myself as the chef that can't grill burgers. Like, everybody's gonna remember that. Like, everybody evacuated.
That's the worst.
It is
the worst, being known for something that you don't want to be known for.
No, and it's not like it's not that I don't know how to cook. It's that this hasn't been cleaned.
Yeah.
And I'm not
my
responsible
fault,
for cleaning the kitchen, but like I'm the one who set the drain on fire. So
forever you will now be like, burgers come up and they'll be like, well, Kim's not gonna do that.
Chef flamethrower over here. That's what
do you apologize? Did you you say you're sorry or like
no?
You just
apologize? No,
no, not my fault.
I mean, like, what do you? Sorry, guys. That's
not my fault.
No, like they had evacuated.
So who's hungry?
So then, like, we were busy cleaning up because I mean,
what do you do with the burgers? What do you do with them?
We threw them away.
Oh, they're all gone.
And they were Wagyu. But they were like black smoke. They were not edible.
Right.
But like they were some nice burgers. They're so yeah, but I didn't have time to like say sorry realistically because A, they had another training, and B, I was cleaning up because like
you gotta get it done,
black grease was like seeping out from this grill had not been cleaned in forever. And so yeah, that was my grease. My literal grease moment.
What of all of that, what's the most taxing thing of that whole situation? Like where are you at? Like just like, man, this is the worst. When
cleanup. I hate cleaning up. I hate it. I had a really nice deal when I was in my 20s where I lived in an apartment with my friend, and she didn't like to cook. Yeah. She loved to clean. I loved cooking. She didn't like to
so
clean.
It's kind of like
and so I would make dinner and she would clean. I hate cleaning up my kitchen. I do it because I need it to stay organized. Like there's dishes.
But in a kitchen, normally you have somebody do that, right? Like you can. No, you always do your own.
Well, I mean, you can, but most of the time, like you're responsible for your station. If your if your station isn't clean, then you're the one who's getting in trouble for it. You're responsible for it. Like
I wouldn't have things that way. I'd be like, nope.
Yeah, but
I own this restaurant.
This place is a dumpster fire, and it's the way I like it.
Hey, guess what? You're doing it. You're cleaning it up. That's how this works.
Yeah. So, no, just the cleanup because you're dealing with grease. So, like, there's black grease dripping everywhere, and like,
it's a true grease moment.
It was a true grease moment. Like, oh my gosh, it was It was a good time.
It's fantastic.
So, share yours. What was greasy moment?
My grease moment for this week, which is kind of like anything that's tedious. The dog falls into that category, and I'll tell you why. Like, you could probably
so Jordan forgot to divulge that like Frank slipped and has like broken hips, and you're not feeding him because he can't walk to his bowl.
It's gonna be all right. Yeah. So, here's the moment. You tell me if you can resonate with this. So, this is kind of like a marriage moment, but like, so I can't remember what happened. It was the other night. Bethany said something to me, and like I got like kind of snarky with her. And and the only reason I did,
I can definitely resonate with that,
was because I had to readjust my whole schedule. Like, like so. Has somebody ever said something to you where you go, I guess? So anyway, so long story short, like, so what happened was, just in my mind, I was like, I'm gonna have to reschedule, or I'm gonna have to like shift everything around.
Yeah,
it wasn't just her; it had happened all week long.
Oh yeah.
So like,
so it was a build up.
Yeah. So like, you have in your mind like, hey, this is what I'm gonna do. These are the things that I'm gonna do. This is how I'm gonna do it. And then automatically, like, somebody's like, hey, can you do this? And I'm like,
yes, Susan, I sure can. I'm happy to help.
which is like, I need to just tell my
Sorry
mouth.
for any Susans.
I need to tell my mouth to not say anything. Like, just take a moment, like, and reacclimate in my head and go like, oh, okay. Well, let me comment on that in a little bit.
Can you do that?
I'm getting better at it.
Oh.
Like,
that's a skill that I do not harbor. Harbor.
It's just like, it's not that like I was upset or anything. It was just like, okay, like I'm just gonna have to like readjust, which is the hard thing when you have a flexible schedule. Yeah. Because you're constantly going like, okay, like we're gonna move this over, but then that's gonna have to like get done later down the road or whatever the case is. So like, it gets sticky in that regard, all of those things. But whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah,
so no big deal.
You just got snarky.
Grace moment for the week. And then we'll land this plane.
Grace moment for the week.
These are good things, by the way, for those of you that don't know. Like,
so
things to celebrate, all that other stuff.
We're going to celebrate. I've had a house project, for 3 years.
Pause for a second. Keep that going. So I told Josh this the other day. I took a wrong turn. So for those of you who don't know, like I drive by Kim's house every now and again, like on the way to church. I was with my oldest daughter. I go like one too many. I don't know if I wasn't paying attention or whatever.
Yeah.
So your kids must play with the neighbor kids behind you.
They do.
Okay. So like I turn in and all like 2 or 3 year olds like or up, from like to like 10, just stare at you when they see you. Like they see an adult, they're like, so
he's out of his element. Who is this person?
So like it was both of your kids and then like a couple of other kids, and they all stopped whatever they were doing. They stare at me, and I'm like, hey guys, and they're like, nope, not doing that.
Stranger danger.
So I legitimately had to like, it's Jordan, it's me, and my daughter's in there like, what is wrong with you? And
it's
I'm like,
weird seeing people out of their. It's like seeing a teacher. Like, do you remember as a kid, like seeing your teacher like at
an actual
like at a grocery store, and you're like,
what are you doing in the real world? Stop it.
You like in my head, and it's so funny now because I have friends and like my mom is a teacher.
Yeah.
But like growing up, teachers do not have lives. No. You literally breathe, eat, sleep at the school. Yeah. The end. And so I'm sure it was the exact same situation. They're like,
they finally
this
like
man
realized
lives at the church.
yeah. Why are you here? They finally like realized who it was. They're like, oh hey.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, like re-navigate.
They probably thought they were in trouble. Honestly,
yeah,
like
their eyes were super big. Like,
yeah.
What?
I'm sure that they thought they were in trouble. So I have 2 boys who are 6 and 7. Jordan has 2 girls. We live a very like.
I'm just one step ahead. That's all.
Yes, but like we live kind of like the same lives, just like opposite. Like your spouse, Bethany, is very much like Josh. Yep. You have 2 girls. I have 2 boys. Like there are so many similarities, but like switch. Yeah. So anyways, so I have been working on a landscaping project for 3 years, and
is it done?
It's like final touches.
Yeah.
Final touches are happening this year. I busted my behind. And so like it's done. I got to sit on my rocking chairs out on the porch last night. It was wonderful. Nobody does that. How many people
kids over to the neighbor's house? How many people what?
How many people? And if maybe this is like a listener question. If you listen, like if you sit on the porch, or if you have if you have chairs on the porch, how many of you actually sit on the porch? Because there's so many people who have chairs on their porch, but you never really see them.
Yeah, I'm there all the time.
Sitting. I sit on the front porch all the time. I sit on ours all the time,
even if it's raining.
Yeah, like
I read out there
it's so peaceful. Yeah. But yeah, like I just asked that to Josh the other day. Like, how many people who have chairs? He'll come out, but like our bedtime routine is, and he is like, Kim, be done with this bedtime routine. And I'm like, it's the last little bit of my babies. But every once in a while, like I think like a dude
but then that woman kicks in like, and it's like nope.
One little moment with my kids and I'm like, this is like the last little thing. And so like it's not like we do anything. I sit up in the chair and like
get in the chair.
I sit in the chair, they go to sleep. Like that's it.
That's your thing. That's it.
But I've always done that. Like I sit and I'm just there. And so we still do that and we just alternate. And so whoever doesn't, like, we make the coffee. Anyways, so Josh did not join last night because I'm pretty sure he fell asleep in the chair. It's such a comfortable chair. Man. You know those nursery chairs. They're so cozy.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, ours is a glider, and I got it to look like not like one of those, like, gliders. Like, it looks like just like a normal
but still as
chair.
Comfortable as one.
It's so comfortable. And so we fall asleep in it all the time. Sweet. So he didn't join me last night. But I had asked him, like, how many people do you think
actually
sit? So that's the question. First question to the listeners.
Yeah.
Let us know. Because I don't think that a lot of people do.
I told Bethany, I said, I would live in the middle of town just to sit on the front porch. Yes. Like, I wave at people. Bethany's like, you're nuts. And I'm like,
good watching spot, too.
Oh, yeah. You guys are in, like, prime territory.
Yeah.
I wave. So when we first moved into our house, this was years ago, but when we first moved into our house, nobody waved. And I'm like, I'm changing that.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like, now people drive by, like, you have to wave. The other day, this guy, like, tore in.
I'm waving at you.
The other day, this guy, he's driving, like, this really, like, beat-up car or whatever. He's flying, going way too fast. And I'm like, slow down. He flips me off. And Green goes, Green's my oldest. She's like, well, that didn't work. No, it was John. And she's like, well, that didn't go like you planned, did it?
I love her. Her sarcasm is wonderful. And she's so deadpan.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
She's like, well, see you later. Actually, she said, because she found out about the podcast, she goes, I hope you guys talk about something good.
Well, what's good, Gianna? Oh, here's the thing. For anybody who is listening. So we're not going
all two of you.
Mom and both of our moms. I don't know. My dad was pretty gung-ho about it too. But as we grow, like, I want anybody and everybody who is listening to know that, like, we talk about stupid things, but, like, you can listen to it while your kids are in the car. Because there's so many podcasts that I listen to that, like,
you're like, nope.
It's like an immediate, like, the second my kids are in my presence, I'm not listening to it because there's so many F-bombs dropped and everything like that. So just know, like, going forward, because we're still kind of introducing ourselves, like, you will never have to worry about us, like, cussing or talking about anything inappropriate because,
we
like,
both lose our jobs.
We would. So just know that. But yeah, I mean, like, so Gianna, you'll have to tell. So look, we've got like 4 people. Yeah. Both of our moms.
My kids.
At least one kid.
Gianna will all the time. Yeah.
I feel like Corrine will just be like, Dad, you're so embarrassing.
Yeah. She's
like,
you're
in
the
that
worst
stage right now.
But anyway, go back to like to like. I would live in town. Like, I love, like, saying hey to people.
Yeah.
Like, it's just it's huge. And then
it's kind of a lost art saying hi to people. Actually, like,
it is. People don't do it anymore.
It's unfortunate. Like,
some people do it at bad times because, like, my one neighbor, like, he'll drive by the house at, like, because I work out in my home gym, and it's in the garage, and, like, so anyway, like, when it's warm out, the garage door's open. He'll honk his horn and say hi at like 4:30 in the morning. I'm like, nope, can't do that. Like,
it's a little early.
Hey man, get it! I'm like, no, please don't.
He's
do
like
that.
blaring like Guns N' Roses or something. You're like, this is not the vibe, man.
You know, you're like,
has a Dukes of Hazzard horn.
How's Frank doing, man? Is he okay? Like that guy that like lives next door. Like, what's up, dude?
That's hilarious.
Let me tell you what I would do with my life.
Anyway, so Grace moment.
Grace moment would be this, like just like the fact that we're here in the room, like doing the thing, which is super huge. So it's super exciting to kind of see like where it goes. We're gonna, take it organically, but I love this. Like there's not enough of this in life. You know what I mean? Or you just like sit down and talk to people. I told a group of pastors the other day. I've been doing this more often. You should totally do this. It's funny. I'll call people on a whim just to see if they'll like do something.
I love calling people. I call people all the time. I am the person.
Yeah.
I am the person who will call you instead of text you. Like it drives Josh crazy. But like my dad will do it, and every once in a while I'm like, that was a text.
Well, like I called a guy up the other day and I was like, hey man, you wanna like I'm going to Mishawaka. Like, you want to go? And they're like, oh, I can't. I'm like, you're dumb.
You suck.
Like, it's just funny, like, how, like, unmarginalized we are. Like,
yeah.
And I get it. Like, I'm in that boat. Like, I am that person who needs to, like, make more of that in my life. But at the same time, it's so funny, like, how much, like, we don't just sit and talk. I mean, even Bethany and I, when we were sitting down, she was like, what are you and Kim going to talk about? I was like, I need just to talk to another human being and laugh for an hour, And
yeah,
just,
it's good for the soul.
Absolutely. Like, so, that's kind of the goal, and the push is we'll see what happens. I'm sure we'll find a groove or whatever the case is. But for right now, like, it's all life stuff and just what's going on and what's transpiring. So if you like it, like, comment, subscribe, all that other stuff.
Yeah.
We're still like figuring out platforms and stuff like that. So there's those things. We'll figure that out.
Yeah.
You bought the domain.
I did. I'm so business minded, man. Like it is like immediate. So there's nothing on there though. So
no,
but
yet.
I mean,
we'll get there.
If you want to check out an empty website, you can find us on.
I'll put your face on it, just like this, like this picture of your face. Like, I don't know if I was on the right website or not. But
yeah, it's gonna be. We'll have a website eventually that just has like all of our socials and whatnot. If
yeah, we'll get there. Like, and that stuff will like just manifest as we see fit.
Right now, there's just
we'll drop it on platforms. We will have an intro soon. Like this episode might not, but like we'll get there. We got a buddy of ours that's working on it.
I'm so excited about it. I literally have like 3 websites that I've just got pulled up where I'm just like listening to like clips of music. Like all of a sudden, who am I? I'm a music producer, I guess. I don't know.
I'm doing it. I'm gonna do it.
Like I am a full immersion.
Here's how this started. I was like, hey Kim, do you want to sit down and have a podcast and talk for an hour? And she's like, yeah. And then 2 days later it was, I bought a domain, we're gonna be rich. Like, okay.
Oh yeah, I'm diving in just because like I've had experience with like anything like this.
You do the business end, I'll do the other end. We're good to go.
I'm happy to do that. I'll be our social media.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm our social security manager.
If you want me to do your taxes, I'll do your taxes.
I've got a guy.
Nah. And this is the moment where kids are like, this is the dumbest thing ever. I'm out.
Welcome to adulthood where things like this are funny. One day you'll be 40 or 35 talking about these things.
Send me your W-9 and we'll get it done.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Yeah. Until next time, we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.